Book 7 FEH channel and a huge update has been out, and this video will bring you up to the speed with everything that you need to know about the new update with the info that we've got, and also the info that we technically didn't really get, but it's definitely going to be helping you. So we do start with Vanaheimr, the land of Vanir, the land of gods, of fertility, wisdom, and ability to see the future. And we can see how the latter part plays into the story because Seiðr is able to manipulate the time, and so is our antagonist. So we have got Seiðr and Heithr as our allies, and Seiðr is the goddess of light, and she is the new Astra Mythic, despite being goddess of light. And book 7 actually plays across past, present, and future. So chapter 13 is actually going to be our first chapter that we get, and along with it we're going to be getting chapter 5 as well. So that is extremely interesting. So we have got these 3 new OCs, and we also have an OC whose name we don't really know. She looks like a shiny Freya pretty much, but I suppose later on in the story we'll know about her. Gullveig is the antagonist that we see, and she might actually be one of the antagonists and maybe not the final antagonist, because we did see Letizia in book 7, you know, opening cutscene as well, and she was not the final big baddie. So Gullveig is a pretty interesting unit as a colorless mage cavalier, and she has got a very powerful tome which has got the range gale force built into it. So she's pretty much like a magical legendary leaf with that Nerean zeal and being able to also use the specials. And whenever she's going to be available, she's going to be very powerful because of that, and also extremely unique. So you can beat chapter 13 of book 7 to get Seiðr as your 5-star hero, and I'm definitely going to be looking forward to using her in like ether raids and also in my free-to-play guides. And we're also going to be getting some celebration bonus as the login. Having these kinds of heroic grails is definitely pretty amazing. We also have more rewards in the multiples of 7, except for the orbs, because if they give you 7 orbs, you might summon a 3-star bot ray, and they definitely don't want that. So we're only given 3 orbs. We also have some ether raids quests, which are going to be giving us the limited structures and also the ether raid stones. And we also have a new castle design, which in my opinion is a bit too bright for my taste at least, but it's definitely cool. The next big thing to talk about is definitely Arena. If you're an active Arena player, then you know that the tier 21 cutoffs have been pretty insane, even like tier 20.5. So not a lot of people have been playing Arena. So just to counteract that, they are making some changes. And now at the end of your Arena streak, you're able to get a free summon ticket. And this is going to be enabling you to summon a free 5-star unit every single week. So you're going to be able to get a guaranteed 5-star unit using this ticket. So they have shown us in the FEH channel that we have this kind of Arena reward banner, which you can only summon on with the tickets that you obtain from Arena. And this is going to be having the units that are in the 4-star special rate. And we have many units in the 4-star special rate. So this is going to be completely random, and the chances of you getting the unit that you want is extremely low. So if you get the colors that you want, you can definitely try and at least hope that you can get the unit that you're aiming for. The red color has got the most amount of 5-star units that you can summon out of the Arena banner. And it is going to be a huge gamble, so you definitely have to be careful if you're going to be trying to summon on the red color. It does have some useful skills and also some useful units, but keep in mind that it is going to be having a lot of 5-star units from book 1, which are going to be largely undesirable for many people. So it's definitely the biggest gamble. And moving on to the blue color, we actually do have duo Ephraim in the pool as well, which is really amazing. He's the only duo unit in the 4-star special summoning rate, so getting merges on him is going to be really helpful for many people. And we do have, you know, in general some decent blue units here, so it's not really as big of a gamble as the red color, I would say. And the green color has much less 5-star units in the pool compared to blue and red. It is definitely one of the better colors to pick from in my opinion, because the quality of units is a bit better, and also the fodder that you can get is also really good in my opinion. So I'm personally going to be trying to prioritize green color whenever I can. And finally, we have the colorless pool, which has got the smallest pool out of any of these colors, and you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with mostly book 1, you know, staff units and archers, which might not be the most desirable, but actually book 2 is not really all that bad. with Warrior Princess Anoka, with Loki, Mikoto being, one of these useful staff units. And we also have Book 3 with the hard-hitting units like Mufasa, Veluria, Fallen Female Corrin, Brave Camilla. So it does have the lowest amount of 5 stars present, and you do have overall more chances of getting any of the notable skills compared to any of the colors, but still for some people, getting Book 1, colorless units are definitely going to be leaving a bad taste in their mouth. So it definitely depends from person to person which kind of color you really find desirable. You pretty much have to pick the color that in your opinion sucks the least, and you have more units that you want to have out of that color, and you can just summon for that color. But sometimes you might have the bad RNG and simply get a full circle of like red stones, so that is definitely going to be pretty unfortunate. But me personally, I'm definitely going to be trying to prioritize green and colorless. So hope this can help you decide which color you want to pick, if you even get that color when you're trying to free summon. Now, we are shown the ticket A, which you could use to summon on the banner A of the arena rewards. But there's also ticket B that is in the data of FEH, which they didn't really talk about in the FEH channel. Now, I do think that ticket B might give us maybe older seasonal units, which we can get as a 4-star special summon in many of these seasonal banners, because the banner A does last for 84 days, and then banner B might start, so maybe we could get some seasonal units out of it. I really hope that is the case, because that is definitely going to be having better odds than a lot of these 4-star special summon rates. But still, both of the tickets are going to be different, so you still have to just get the free summon, and you lose nothing by doing it. And we're also going to be having something similar to the Chaos Season in Ether Raids, where version units can be a bonus unit in the place of the Asuka trio. And this is not always going to be the case, so don't think that Arena has been fixed yet. It is only going to be happening in a couple of weeks, similar to how, Ether Raids Chaos happens like once a month. So I'm kind of expecting similar thing to that in Arena. And they're, I think, probably just testing out if the Arena turnout is increased in these weeks whenever they have these version bonuses and more people, show up. So this is probably a test. So this is kind of like Ether Raids Chaos, where it is going to be happening at times, and Arena is going to be, extremely easy and quite fun for many people to play whenever these version bonuses are there. Binding Worlds has been a new game mode in FEH that has been run a couple of times, and they are now monetizing this game mode with a new item which you can purchase, and this item is going to be enabling you to recruit any of your friend units or any of the unit that you had in the Binding Worlds essentially in their roster. So this is going to be extremely powerful for many people. It has been data mined that the Otherworld Bond pack is going to be costing $55 US, and this is pretty much going to be enabling you to recruit any kind of friend unit from Book 1 to Book 4. So Book 5, 6, and 7 units are not really allowed, and this pack is pretty much going to be the only way that you can get the Otherworld Bond as an item to recruit a friend unit as a forma. And I hope that at some point they can give this item to us as a free-to-play item, just like they did with a Forma Soul in the anniversary. So I really hope they can do at least like one of these items per year, because that's going to be the best thing ever, because it is going to be a lot more powerful than the Forma Soul, because whenever you redeem using this item, the units do come with their traits, so you don't really have to use the trait fruits on them like the Forma units. It's just that the ascended traits are not going to be staying, so you will have to use a Flieret, and they are going to be always coming at the max Dragon Flower value, which is pretty insane, and it can actually save you a lot of Dragon Flowers on many of the older units. Now, unlike the Forma Souls, you can only use one Otherworld Bond per event. So you can, just get multiple Forma units in holoforms at times. So that is not going to be the case with the Otherworld Bond item. And Resplendent outfits are going to be there depending on if you have that, Resplendent outfit in your settings or not. And obviously Blessing, Sacred Seal, and all of those things are not going to be carrying over. You can only get the heroes that have appeared between Book 1 and Book 4. So this is going to be including a huge amount of units, which I've tried to make a comprehensive list of based on their rarities. So I hope this can help you. And I have kind of misplaced some of the units like Gunthra and Aversa, for example, but I hope it's not a huge issue. So you can actually get harmonic units, duo units, mythic units, and ledger units with like premium skills if you do contact a friend who has got this kind of unit, and they can put this unit up as their lead, and then you can pretty much redeem them with this kind of Otherworld Bond item. So it is essentially the closest we're going to be getting, I suppose, to trading units. And this can also enable you to get a lot of 5-star log units all the way from book 4 to book 1. And many people do have them as their favorites. It is also going to be having many seasonal units. The recent seasonal units have been a lot better, but the older ones have been fan favorites of many people. It is of course going to be including Choose Your Legends units as well. And many of these units are going to be very strong, especially someone like Brave Dimitri, for example. You can also get a Grail unit or a 3-star, 4-star unit if you're a big fan of them, technically using this item. Obviously, the most amount of value is going to be with Mythic, Legendary units, and Duo units and stuff like that, which are pretty rare to get and also hard to merge. So it is definitely going to be requiring you some, interaction with the community and reaching out to the players who have these kinds of units with those skills so that they can put them up. And there are also some other rules which they didn't really go over in the FEH channel. So Asuka Trio are not going to be allowed to be format, so they cannot really get any kind of merges even with this item. And all of the rules which apply to the forma unit also apply to the units that you obtain with this item, because they are the forma units. So you cannot really fodder them and you cannot really make them into manuals. So don't try and get a unit for that goal. And you can also merge forma units into other forma units, even if the other forma unit that you got was from a different event in Hall of Forms. So at the end of the day, it is going to be a forma unit, and this is a way, I guess, of updating your forma units if they don't really get the reruns. And you are going to be having 30 days after the Binding Worlds event has ended so that you can redeem with your item. And keep in mind that just like orbs and forma souls, the Otherworld bonds cannot be transferred over from Android to iOS and vice versa, because they're going to be staying in the native device where you first got this item on. So definitely keep that in mind if you're thinking of moving your phones. And the next Binding Worlds event is actually going to be happening really soon on 11th of December, and that's the exact date when you can purchase this Otherworld Bond pack as well. And we also have some other things to talk about, like the friend limit being increased to 200, which is of course in line with the Binding Worlds and its usage of the friend units. So you can have a lot more friend units now, which can help you in other game modes as well, like Pawns of Loki, Grand Conquest, and all of that. And they've also added a new 5000 RNR Affinity Legendary Veronica accessory in Aether Resort. So it is going to be one of the hardest accessories to get because of the sheer amount of the affinity that you need to redeem this accessory on. So the people who have been saving RNR Affinity are definitely going to be pretty happy. And we also have new units to talk about, which are going to be appearing with the new Book 7 OC Seiðr in a banner. So I didn't really talk too much about Seiðr, but here I'm definitely going to be talking about her, and we do know the stats and super boon skills and everything of each of these units. I will be going a lot more in depth when I do the banner review, but this is essentially going to be my quick analysis of these units. So we have got Rearmed Ophelia as the Arcane Red Tome user for the red mages, and this is really helpful to many of the red mages who don't really have a preferred weapon. And Arcane Eclipse, just like all of the arcane weapons, gives you -1 special cooldown, and it also has Quicken Pulse effect built into it. So this is going to be pretty helpful for pre-charging a special by using Time Pulse or by using the support of other units like Duochrome, Asker, Legendary Hector, and so many of the other units. It can also give you +5 to all of your stats and also guaranteed follow-up attack. So the guaranteed follow-up attack is extremely helpful for any kind of slow mage because they don't really have to rely on quick riposte. And for the faster mages, it does act as a pseudo half-null follow-up, which can make them bypass the follow-up negation effects. And finally, it can neutralize the debuffs on units' attack. So the debuff neutralization is definitely pretty good because you can nuke really hard despite the debuffs. And Ophelia does come with Special Spiral 4 as well, which you can get along with this arcane weapon. So the tier 4 version of Special Spiral provides you with +5 true damage when your special triggers, and when your special triggers, you essentially have the Deadeye or the lethality effect, which can allow you to pierce through the non-special damage reduction skills like Close Call, Vital Astra, Dragon Wall, and all of those skills. You cannot really pierce through godlike reflexes or Aegis or Pavis, as those are the special skills with the damage reduction, but being able to pierce through the damage reduction of many of these skills, especially something like Deflect Magic and Dragon Wall, is definitely pretty amazing for many of the mages. And then it does have the -2 special cooldown after the combat, like the regular special spiral. So this is going to be a pretty good skill for many of the mages, because the mages don't really have a special that is equivalent of lethality or deadeye. So this can pretty much allow them to nuke a lot of the tanks and not really care about their damage reduction. And this of course goes really well with this kind of weapon, which has got Quicken Pulse built into it and is very much in the favor of nuking. She also has Time Pulse and Attack Resistance Finish 4, which also has pretty good synergy with nuking, and the finish skill can give you even more true damage. So I'll be going over the best users of this arcane weapon in a couple of hours, so definitely be on the lookout for that and subscribe. And Ophelia overall is going to be functioning more like a fodder for many of the units because of this kind of arcane weapon, but she herself does have pretty good stats with that high base 44 attack, which also has a super boon. And she's not really the fastest because this weapon doesn't really need the highest speed, as it does provide you with the guaranteed follow-up attack. So yeah, she's definitely going to be pretty helpful for many people. And then we have Seiðr as the new Astra Mythic that can open up the 7th slot and also provide the attack boost, just like Regan. And Regan did have Seiðr Shell, but here we have Seiðr as her full name. So Seiðr has got Seiðr as her weapon, and this does give you -1 special cooldown, and it also provides the follow-up negation status to herself and the allies within 2 spaces at start of a turn. So this is pretty much the status that you get when you use Attack Smoke 4. So having this kind of status given to your allies is definitely going to be pretty good, especially if they're not really all that fast, and this can prevent the auto follow-up attacks of a lot of these slower enemies if they are fast enough. This weapon also provides her with +5 to all of these stats and also the guaranteed follow-up attack, so she can basically have this kind of Omni Breaker effect with the follow-up negation and the guaranteed follow-up attack that she has got, and then finally she can do true damage based on 20% of her resistance. And she is going to be a free-to-play unit that you can get out of chapter 13 of book 7, so be sure to do that because she's definitely a pretty powerful mage cavalier with that 43 base attack and the only stat with no super boon or super bane in her defense. So this is kind of funny, but yeah, having this kind of resistance is definitely pretty nice and also very good nuking potential. She does come with Still Water and also Chill Attack Resistance 3, which I suppose is a new skill. It can definitely help with the resistance check that she has got in her Slothy skill. So her Slothy skill is the new skill exclusive to her, and it is called Future Focused. So it is only going to be active on the odd turns after the foes at start of turn effects have triggered. And the closest foes in the cardinal direction of Seiðr are going to be having their action ended immediately. So it's kind of like the 7th slot of Ether Raids where, at start of the turn, the 7th slot unit just ends their turn immediately. So that is going to be happening with Seiðr, but it does take the resistance check. And the far away the unit is, the more resistance that you pretty much need to meet that check. And it is only going to be active on the odd turns. But still, this is an incredibly powerful effect because just stopping an enemy from completely acting is pretty insane, honestly. And this is going to be very useful in Ether Raid's offense, for tanking teams, even for the Gale Force teams, for the pot collection. And this is definitely going to be making her as a pretty powerful unit in the Astra season and also in the Chaos season. And she is the free mythic, so everyone is going to be having her, and you can also spark her on this banner to get the +1 merge. And that kind of guaranteed merge is definitely pretty good on a rare unit like a legendary or a mythic unit. So that is Seiðr with her sky high attack and also future focused as a skill which can just rob the enemy of their action. I'll definitely make a full review on her when we get her and testing her out in many situations. And we also have Caeldori as the other unit, who also has a rather premium kit in this banner. So she has got Prodigy Polearm, which does give her -1 special cooldown and full null follow up. And she can also get +5 to all of her stats in the combat. And basically she has got this effect which can allow her to get attack and defense debuff on the foe, depending on a certain percentage of her visible speed stat. And this percentage is calculated by multiplying 5 with the max stats that she has got compared to the foes, which are not more than 5, and then by adding 10. So for example, if she has got more attack and speed than the foe that is needed, she can get 20% of her speed as the debuff, which is going to be making -8 attack and defense debuff, which we did see in the trailer. so she is going to be a pretty good stat ball because of this kind of effect. And having that full null follow-up in her weapon just means that she doesn't really need to run any kind of flow skill, and she's free to run a trace skill in her slot B. So it is going to be making her good against many of the units, and she does have pretty good speed stat at base 44 and also has base 40 attack with the super boon. All of the other stats just have a super pain in them. So yeah, that is Caeldori, the Perfectionist, and then we also have Dwyer as the Demote of this banner, and he basically has the non-seasonal version of Staff of 12, which can heal up the ally who has taken the most amount of damage at start of a turn. And when it comes to being a unit, he's essentially a side grade of Elise that we had in the Arcane banner as an instant demote, because his stat spread is definitely pretty similar, just having a bit less attack than her, but having more resistance, and also having a resistance super boon. He also has an ARD skill in attack resistance 3, which is going to be available at 4-star, and this is pretty much a reference to his personal skill in Fates, where he could get more stats if you fought in the castle, like my castle for example, and he does have speed tactic 3 at 5-star. So that is going to be the demote of the banner, and we also have an instant demote out of this banner in Kiragi. So Kiragi is going to be having the Unbound Bow, which to my surprise doesn't really have lull attack defense built into it. Instead, it does have lull speed defense built into it, which definitely goes well with the stat spread that he has got, having both super boons in attack and speed. And he does have Luna and Drive Speed at 4-star and Sparrow 2 at 5-star, and he is going to be available in the quest, so at least you're going to be able to get the +1 merge on him, which is not the case with a lot of instant demote units. So I always like whenever they give us the quest for these instant demotes, because at least you have some chance of getting them guaranteed. And finally, we have the Grand Hero Battle unit of this batch in Hans, who's going to be completely dunking on our boys Dwyer and Kiragi as a freebie, because he has got a very powerful weapon in Augermere, and that is the S-rank axe from Fates. So Augermere does provide him with +3 attack on top of his insane base attack of 45 that also has a super boon, and then he can get +6 attack and speed in the combat. This weapon can also give him the guaranteed follow-up attack, even though he does have like workable speed at base 39 with the super boon. And finally, he can get 40% damage reduction on foe's first attack, and then the next attack of his is going to be dealing true damage based on the total damage that he reduced with his damage reduction. So that is pretty much like the counter skills that we have seen in Fates and many of the other games. And that is pretty insane, because this is kind of like reflecting the damage upon the unit, which is going to be pretty insane with the high attack stat that he has got. So he definitely has very high one-shot potential. And he's like giving competition to female Shez with this kind of weapon. And also, Arcane Downfall, which just was available on Gonglot. So this kind of weapon with this kind of stat spread is definitely pretty good for a free-to-play unit. He does have Dragon Fang and Rouse attack speed 3 at 4-star, and then he also has the attack speed ideal 3 at 5-star. So also decent when it comes to the fodder, but the preferred weapon is definitely pretty nice if you want to invest into him. From what I can tell, I think we're going to be having a new Christmas winter banner on 16 December for this year, because we only have the Fae data up until 15 December from the Book 7 update. So that is just my educated guess, and we're probably going to be getting a trailer on December 15th, a day before the banner, and before the trailer we're of course going to be getting the silhouettes. So if you're interested in the Christmas banner, you can of course be on the lookout for that. We're going to be able to see the Christmas units before the Embla and Veronica legendary banner is going to be going away, so that is definitely a good thing to keep in mind. So I hope you all found this video helpful and insightful. If you did, then make sure to share this video with your friends, and if you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like, it helps me a lot. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member as well. And for more Fae videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as convoluted as Caeldori's weapon. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.